This is the Antique Anatomy Tarot. I've had this deck for quite some time, but it's not one that I read with personally, though I like it a lot, and I'll explain why as we're going over some of the features of the deck. I learned today that one of my close friends and allies in magical community has lost some cards from her version of this deck. And I know she loves it, she uses it often, she reads with it very well, so she needs this copy. And that's why I'm covering this deck today. I was kind of going back and forth on what long video I wanted to make this week. So the Antique Anatomy Tarot is pretty minimal as far as tarot decks go in the modern age. Its principles are based very much on good rules of graphic design, lots of symmetry in the deck, and you'll see that generally the suit cards are pip-style. So you will have a number of blades in all of the swords cards that equals the number of the card. The type of object in each of the suits is a little bit different from card to card. And the suits are characterized in a way that relates more to anatomy, but also to the visual themes of an apothecary. Someone who is making medicines out of things in the natural world, thinking a lot about the way that the body is put together and how various cures, particularly along the vein of chemicals that can be extracted, are going to help the body transform it, offer different qualities to one's experience. So in our earthy suit, we have coins, much like the traditional Marseille decks, as opposed to staffs or wands, we have rods. And the types of rods in the deck suggest a lot of different uses that you might have for something that is stick-shaped. Blades, as opposed to swords, so kind of simplifying the concept, and elixirs rather than cups. So a little more focus on the transformational energy and concentration that is required to make what is inside the vessel, rather than just focusing on the vessel itself. The main reason that I don't feel super comfortable using this deck is that every card has a floral motif. And the motifs seem to be different on every card, or at least the flowers that were chosen. And my approach to plants, animals, individuals of anything that I meet out in the natural world is to check out their energy, respect those individual qualities for that creature, for that plant, and move on. I don't feel a great need to know their names. I'm not looking to harvest them and transform them. I really just want to see them thrive in the community, and I'm especially interested in what bugs are allowed to live and go through the cycle of their existence due to the other plants and animals in my area. I'm very bug focused. So, because I know that the design of these cards is so heavily reliant on those plants, or at least it seems that way to me, and I don't know what all the plants are or what their qualities are, I feel like I'm missing a big part of the deck when I pick it up and try to use it. And yes, of course, I could memorize the qualities of all of these plants, but a big part of my practice is focusing on the things that I am drawn to understand in a deep way, and that give me a great deal of pleasure to know that I have some expertise in, and allow other people to do the same so that they can educate me. I'm not trying to cover all of the bases just for myself, but rather to build a team where all of us feel comfortable exploring our particular areas of interest and then sharing those, becoming the expert for everybody else. It's never the case that just because I've focused on something, I think that anybody else needs to. I hope I can be a resource to anyone who is interested in what I'm working with, or any facet of it that could connect with what's really important to them. And that's where things get fun. So this is why I'm giving this deck to my friend, because she is much more focused on what is growing in my area, how can it be utilized, how can I responsibly harvest it, how can I add other things to this environment in order to improve what's already there. She is much more of a land manager and cultivator as opposed to myself. She needs this deck. I've got other things to read with. So just to give some examples of how the cards are organized and portrayed. In the suit of coins, we have the 2 here. You see that each coin generally has a anatomical figure on it, keeping in the theme of the deck. 2 hearts on the 2 of coins here, going in different directions, a meeting of 2 distinct things that carry their entire world within themselves, and a question of what happens if these 2 coins are in the same pocket, being combined in value to some future potential. What do they look like separately? What could they be together? I like this 5 of coins a lot. It emphasizes action and being capable of transforming what's around you with the hands and the feet. The feet emphasizing the geographical or physical environment qualities that come along with coins. And the fact that the skull here in the center is shown from the top down, it's really more about broadening your perspective through action, seeing what more is out there than you expected or you thought as you begin your adventure and start to coordinate, compare with other people who are working in the same vein that you are. All of the court cards are characterized by skulls in different positions related to the symbol of the suit. So here, the Knight of Coins. Inside the coin, stately, looks like a person who was at the prime of their life, skeletons in good shape. And it's interesting to think about these representatives of the court characters as their remains, that their story stopped at the moment where they were at the peak of the role that their position in the court implies. So I feel like there's a lot to tease out in this deck as we think about that these characters sort of get to being the absolute emblem, the champion of their role, but then that's it. The story ends there, right when they were at the fullness of their potential. As I said, the rods are different kinds of bars, sticks, staffs, anything that somebody might utilize a long thing for. So these are pry bars or hooks in the 2 of rods. Again, that sense of bringing things together, but the things themselves being distinct. If the hooks here were connected to each other, how would they pull? Would both of them be able to endure the tension? Where would they go from there in that tug of war? The 7 of rods, paddles, absolutely a great symbol to utilize in the 7. Paddles give us this sense of control in the water, the limited sense of being able to direct ourselves if the water is too powerful and we start to lose control over where we are going. The paddle helps, but it only goes so far, and it's not going to allow us to master the entire river, but helps us to position ourselves within it. Very much 7 energy. And I've chosen the Knight again from this suit. The rod here is a little bit more like a club. It could be used as something like the end of a decorative banister. There's a lot of potential in this rod, but it's sturdy and definitely has some weight to it. The skull of the Knight is resting on top of the rod, as if that energy, the strength of the object, is what gives him his connection to everything that he's doing around him. His full potential is in the power that this rod provides. I like the contrast between the 6 and the 9 of blades here. This 6 of blades portrays knives that look like they could be steak knives. I could certainly see these on a table being prepared for a nice piece of meat. Whereas the 9 of blades, these look a lot more like daggers or throwing knives. Something that you would use in rougher situations, especially when you would want a lot of knives at your disposal, that you would be dispersing and perhaps not worrying too much about the fate of every single blade by the time you were done using them. And here we have the Page of Blades. He's got 2 smaller knives. The blades don't even cover the entire shaft of metal there. They're going in different directions, and the skull is kind of a kilter. Not sure if it's resting very solidly wherever it is. The Page of Blades kind of comes out in this burst image, so that we don't fully know where the energy of the card is being directed. We just know that there's a lot of it, and the page is pleased to be at the center of that energy. The elixirs give us a clearer sense of the intention of the card's meaning and its design, as all of them have labels, or just about all of them. So the Ace of Elixirs is characterized as a love potion, emphasizing the emotional qualities of the suit, and its tendency to refer to connection, whether that is community, friendship, romance, the ability to allow others to access our deeper sensibilities. The Four of Elixirs cleverly has a bunch of chemicals that lead to sleep, drowsiness, that overlay consciousness and thought with a feeling of complete relaxation or even shutting down. And the court cards all have their own kind of large bottle with, again, flowers growing around it. The King of Elixirs is a calming tonic, recognition of all the things in the world that can rattle us up, make things feel difficult, disrupt our nervous system. The king comes along and reminds us that it's all part of a system that all of us have always been a part of, and there are ways to relieve our sense of anxiety or nervousness no matter what's going on around. The majors are a little bit more elaborate, though I do appreciate that they don't compete very strongly in a visual sense with the suit cards. It seems like in every card, visually there's about the same amount of stuff, so that the meanings are offered similar weight. And one of the reasons I like this deck so much is that you really have to dig into the form, the subtlety of the symbols in order to tease out meaning and find something to say in particular about the card. I like that because it encourages people to make more connections between the simple symbols that you find in each card, and it actually emphasizes the contrast when you've only got a few things to look at from card to card as far as looking for the differences in both the visual structure and the stuff that's represented. So what I mean by that is exemplified well in this Magician card. The lemniscate or infinity symbol is formed by a spine. Instead of being at the top of the card, it is actually enveloping the hand, representing the magician in this complex of muscles and tendons. We forget sometimes how complicated our hands are, how many tiny things have to move in exactly the right way for us to manipulate our fingers, grasp things, and move in a clever way. And that's a lot of what is represented by the magician, is our ability to coordinate many things, to fascinate, develop interest, grab attention, skills that we've got to learn and practice over and over with these very intricate parts of ours in order to discover our potential. The Justice card is this great combination of brain and heart, referencing a lot of what you're going to find in many of the other cards. Lots of brains, lots of hearts, but to think of justice as the combination of these two things in a way that is material, that allows both of them to thrive, that supports them from different areas in a way that creates balance, is to me a great way to subtly and simply represent the meaning of the card. And I love this world card. You don't have a lot of animal parts throughout the rest of the deck, and so it really brings attention to their presence here in the world card. And the fact that you have the torso as this haven for the organs, the things that are outside of us transform us in a deep way. They get to these parts that are closed over, protected, transforming within. So I love the way that this world card presents what is within, what is without, and asks us to focus on the parts of reality that we relate to and we associate with as part of us in the natural world, but that are represented by creatures that are not us, and our way of contemplating our relationship with the rest of the world, our responsibility to it, how it has informed us, is a great deal of what the world card prompts us to think about. So thank you very much for checking out this fabulous deck with me. It's a really good one for anybody who does a lot of foraging, who is deeply into botany, and I think that even if those subjects are not primary parts of your life, your practice, what you think about, this deck is an excellent example of a bare bones design in a tarot deck that carries a lot of meaning, a lot of interconnections as you go from one card to the next. It helps you see the structure in tarot in a way that is very unique to the deck and that creates its own language that is related to stuff that we often use in the world. If you have used this deck to any good effect, I would love to know about it. And if anybody is aware of a full explanation of the plants on this deck or would like to attempt one, I am really curious to know why each flower was chosen for the card that it has. As you see, I don't have the box or the book. I have read the book and it doesn't go into those floral choices. So I'm really curious to hear anybody's reflection on how they may apply to the cards where they are. Have a fabulous day and take care. If you are interested in regular readings, please check out my Patreon. It's just Newell Tarot on patreon.com. And please continue to keep an eye on this channel for more information about energy work, spiritual tools, your personal development. If you've got questions and videos that you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments. Have a fabulous day. Take care.